You were graded by the United States people, and they don't use your service anymore. You bankrupt.
That is not true.
You bankrupt this through your reputation only. Through your reputation, you are responsible for the fall of the Postal Service and the lack of accountability.
Congress is responsible for the fall of the Postal Service.
So it's Congress.
I am trying to fix
on your
the Postal
watch
Service.
With all the AI.
Before my watch, the same stuff happened.
With all the AI, with all the computer systems, you're worse than if I took a horse and picked up the mail and delivered it 2 miles down the road. That's you. I hope you got that on camera. This is the response that the postmaster just gave Congress when he doesn't like what he hears.
And when you ask him to answer a question, he doesn't want to. Anyway, I love this. First of all, further proof, greatest deliberative body in world history. I'm glad we have a government, and isn't democracy grand? But also, I didn't know that you could still do that. I thought you were supposed to stop that at like 5 or 6. You could just cover your ears. I didn't know that was like a shortcut to not having to hear something you don't want to. It's making me wonder if I could use some of the other childish shortcuts too. Like if I don't like a person, can I just start swinging my arms and walking slowly towards them? And if they get hit, it's really on them. Can I do that? I don't know. But anyway, that is the Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, who we have had to talk about in this show way too many times, more than all of the other Postmasters General combined, I think. And look, I don't know to what extent he's singularly responsible for all of the issues with the post office, but he has made a lot of decisions that seem designed to make it kind of incapable of doing its job. Taking sorting machines out of locations, consolidating locations to put more strain on an individual one and make it harder, particularly in rural areas, to do the deliveries they need to. And nobody can dispute that the post office is in a bad way financially. Now, I think there's a lot of reasons for that. And I think the Republicans have done a lot of work over years and years to put them in this very difficult position. We're not going to relitigate all of that today, but that back and forth gives me very little faith that they're going to be able to extricate themselves from this position. JR, what do you make of it?
Well, it's a similar type of, I guess, approaches that people have. When it comes to, we're going to trim down government, get rid of this, get rid of that. And it's always the agencies or the departments or things that actually help regular folks more often than others, that they're cutting down budgets for, or consolidating this. And let's go ahead and eliminate that, because what do people really need their deliveries for? And sadly, I think many Republican supporters, generally folks that are a little bit older and vote more conservatively, like to use the post office more than maybe somebody who's 26. So it's these processes and thoughts of thinking they can do whatever they want, even in the face of the people who voted for them and think they like these types of policies. It goes back and hurts them. So rural areas are hurt. Elderly people are that. Yeah, I think the example that always comes up is, how long before I get my medication? Things like that. And now you're fighting with the folks that always supported you. You're losing support in those areas. And again, it sucks that everyone has to suffer after, as we're seeing this, after the fact, when someone like Louis DeJoy then steps in and screws things up. And then we have to come back and show him how bad he is. Look, this guy, Representative McCormick, as soon as his face came up, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, we're talking about this guy and how he's fighting against Social Security and Medicare, because that's what he's on TV doing lately.
Yeah, that's true.
Like vehemently advocating for the elimination of Social Security and Medicare, because we have to do it or else these folks are going to be screwed. No mention of what they need to do in other ways of making sure that we fund our government, instead of giving rich and corporations all the tax breaks that they want. It has to come back on regular folks. So I don't know if he's trying to play both sides of the fence here and being mad at Louis DeJoy, but they're all kind of fighting the same fight.
Yeah, look, why they have put the post office in this position, including having Louis DeJoy be in charge of it, is, I think, complex. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. It's generally not caring about government, not wanting it to function, wanting people to be trained to think that it's incapable of accomplishing anything, wanting to make it, I don't know, encourage people to use alternatives so that the companies behind those can personally profit. That's one of them. And then we also can't remember, like, we're out of election season now, so we're not really thinking about this, but it seemed like some of the initial reforms that did the most damage to the ability of the post office to do their job on the timetable they need to was seemingly tied to trying to make it incapable of delivering ballots when it needs to and on the schedule that it needs to. And so there's a lot of potential explanations for this. But right now they have a lot of money that they're projected to lose, not just through this year, but next year as well. I haven't seen anything from Louis DeJoy that implies that he can take them out of that position. I do know one thing that Trump is planning to do for the post office, and I should have been able to predict this because of how petty Donald Trump is. He's planning on gutting the contracts that are currently planned to electrify the USPS's fleet of vehicles. So tens of thousands of electric vehicles, which again, like it's a small thing, but it's taking seriously the challenge that we face when it comes to our climate just a little bit more. And no, they're gonna screw them over. Now, some people speculate that maybe they're just gonna kill it because it's Oshkosh and Ford that have the current plans of the current contracts. Maybe he just wants to throw it to Elon Musk and they're gonna do Tesla delivery vehicles or something. Yep. That's the sort of petty corruption I would expect out of Donald Trump. But either way, it has been in the works for years, and it looks like now it's very much up for question. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.